Yeah, Kim. Okay, can you touch one to take a Uber and run back to the office then? He's over here, tell him to leave right now. Once he's there, then you can leave right away. Did you do some collections at least? Did you do something good? So tomorrow you're full, right? And also tell Guran to, this one to collect. Then first let him come right away, take a cab and let him come. And just put it on your system that you're leaving early. Okay, just call this one right now. Right. Hey, Ron?
2 on the dot, we'll start. But we're live on everything.
So you're on mute, so you
Priyanjali, you have a lot of people? Hello?
Yes, sir. Just joining in. I'm just checking.
Yeah, so also you can put it up, Samraj, or be, Zoom webinar beginning soon. And also in between, Banu, and you can say the Gehi.com and everything. Just remind, you can also put it in, or on the Q&A, you can say, okay, just say that on the chat, all questions will be to Q&A and everything. And please answer your questions on the Q&A. Put that
Naresh,
up
we're
right now.
live, so people can hear what you're saying. So, yeah. But anyways, I did promote it on the new ad that I have just a few minutes ago saying that we're live. So, and to join us at 2. So, yeah.
Hello everyone, this is Attorney Naresh Gehi, and welcome to this program, Green Card with Gehi. With me, I have my moderator, Banu, who works with us, and plus on the support staff, we have Priyanjali and we have Tariq helping us today. So folks, what are we going to do? We are all going to have some regular sessions with everyone, and we're going to make sure that we answer your questions as much as possible, and we make sure that we have a very informative session. So this program is going to be held every Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And besides talking about the law, we will also be taking question and answers. So as you all rightly know, that if you have any questions, you can use the question and answer box. So folks, it's time for us to hit the headlines. And we're going to talk about 3 critical issues. One of them is the Biden administration announces expansion of immigration policies to benefit STEM students, scholars, and researchers. So what does that mean? Biden administration is taking a friendly approach towards immigration. And they are trying to basically make sure that people who are in STEM occupations are benefited. So who is going to benefit? That's what we're going to talk about. And then we will be answering question and answers as we go along. So if you have any question and answers, use a Q&A box. Now, what is the Biden administration doing, which is excellent for people who are in STEM occupations? Firstly, the STEM occupation will be expanded into 22 more fields. That is absolutely brilliant. So as you all know, the STEM occupants get on an average of 29 months. So 22 more fields will be added, and that's going to help a lot more people to expand their OPTs. So generally, there are occupations wherein the OPT is only for 12 months. And if this gets expanded, and if your field of endeavor is included in this, the great news for you is that exactly you'll be getting, 36 months. So that's number one. Second thing is that if you are on a J1 visa in this country, so for example, if you are in a program right now, and if you're about to graduate, so the good news is that it's going to be expanded to 36 months. So that is fantastic. Currently, it's 18 months, and now later on, it is going to be expanded to 36 months. That is a big change. So J1 students should be very happy. They come in and they get into these, graduate programs and postgraduate programs. They want to do their masters. Good news for you is that instead of 18 months, you are going to get 36 months. Now, since we will be kind of, talking about these issues, so at the same time, I'll also be kind of taking some examples what J1 students should do if they are here, and especially if they want to live in the United States. So that's going to be one major part of our discussion. So before that, let me just run the other areas which are going to be benefited under the recent plan by President Biden regarding the STEM occupations and some other changes which are happening. So on the O1A visa category, that is meant for people of extraordinary ability, you're going to see some great changes. So according to me, the O1A visa will have a lot more flexibility. They're going to look at your citations now, the number of citations you have done, plus they're going to look at your research. And after that, they'll also be given the latitude to look into comparable evidence that you have, because sometimes your evidence will not be on the dot, but it may be closer to the dot, which means in the past, the approach was very conservative. It was more like a black and white approach. So which means you failed to submit this, therefore we are denying the case, issuing an RFE, sorry you did not meet it. So the way I look at it, in the O1A visa adjudication process, there will be a lot more flexibility given to the officer, and that is absolutely fantastic. And they're also going to look at relevant evidence, what others in the field, research experience with leading institutions. So if you're a researcher and if you work with leading institutions, great for you. So your chances of O1A will be much better. So now, why is this helpful, the O1A? Now, suppose, if you don't get into the H1B gap, you should be, going to basically trying your bet on the O1A. And according to me, it'll be simplified, and a conservative stand will not be taken in future. This is my personal analysis. So, the advice is general in nature. So I wanted you to know on what's happening with the O1A visa category. So likewise, they're also making some changes to this is very important for a lot of people. The third part of it, which, I've helped many people over the years, that's the national interest waiver. The national interest waiver is meant for people who are kind of brilliant and, I call them as people who are extraordinary, or brilliant people. So right now, the thing is that what is the national interest waiver? Show that, for example, the factors that you have to for problems on the chapter, and global price of agencies. Some of the criteria is a bit, especially as a positive factor. Important is because of a few reasons. Do you know that if you apply for the national interest waiver, the good news is that you may not even require a sponsor. So you can self-sponsor, get a green card under the national interest waiver program. Now, I am going to cite a very simple example. I have a PhD from the United States of America, and my research was focused on COVID, on COVID-19 and COVID, what's happening with COVID, on Omicron. So now I have a PhD. My focus is on this particular issue, and I want to apply for my green card. So if I have research publications and if my work has been published, and I've spoken about this particular issue, like to an elite audience, to people from basically who are from the scientific industry, who are doing research about COVID, and plus if I've been a judge of other people's work, and if I've become an authority in the field of COVID, then I think national interest waiver is a fantastic option. You have to show that your research is extraordinary, it's special, unique, and extraordinary. And now let's basically talk. So I'm this person, I have all the requirements, I have these 14 publications, and I've spoken at conferences. My work has appeared in the media, and I've been the judge in the field of my endeavor, and I've won some major prizes. You don't have to have all of them, you have to have 3 out of 10, and it's very easy for you to look up the list. So now, after you look up the list, what is critically important is that you feel that you met the criteria. Then after that, of course, you'll have to work with your lawyer or whomever you're comfortable with. Then you both have to make sure that you'll go through everything thoroughly, because when you do a national interest waiver, what I've seen in my entire career is that you have to cross the I's and the T's thoroughly. You have to make sure that everything is good, and you're not missing anything. Because one of the important factors in a national interest waiver is that why are you so special, unique, and extraordinary? Why is your research different than the research that was done by other people? So that's a big burden for people to cross. And then once you put your paperwork together, now you have this PhD, and on your OPT, you do not even have to get a signature from your employer. Why? Because this category allows you to apply for your own green card. And you do not need the labor certification process. So you don't have to kind of test the labor market, nothing. So now, take an example, if you're not from a country such as India or China, how can this be beneficial to you? This can be, great for you, because what you can do is you can, start getting your I-140 petition in order, and you can also apply for the 485 together with it. And if you're married, your spouse can also join in. Great. So then after 4 to 6 months, your spouse gets a work permit, your children, basically they start getting settled. So I tell people, look at the advantages. And I believe after this particular memo has come out, this particular kind of policy, which is going to be in place soon, I think it's a great opportunity for PhDs And it's a great opportunity for people who are brilliant, who have publications, to deep dive into, the national interest waiver and get settled. And secondly, if you are someone like, who did not make it into the H1B quota, then basically consider the O1A. And, things are getting a little kind of flexible. So take advantage of that. And besides that, if you're coming in and joining on the J1 visa program, and you have these 36 months, what can you do? Now, this is a common misconception in the world of immigrants out here, that you always have to have an H1B in order to apply, get your green card going. My answer is no. You do not need an H1B in order to be eligible for a green card. So I'm going to break this down into simple examples, but let's see whether there are any questions. And if there are any questions, please basically put them in the question and answer box. We'll be happy to chat or basically put it in the Q&A box, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. So now, basically, we are talking about, we crossed this particular issue about the O1 visa. We've gone through this H1B issue. Now, I did not qualify for the H1B. Consider the O1A if you're extraordinary, if you're brilliant. If you have this PhD degree, consider basically the national interest waiver. And if you have a family here and if you have a PhD, the good news is that your family can also be included in the petition, and you should be eligible to apply for the green card. So these are some great things which are happening from the world of immigration. So besides this, what we're going to do is that we have Banu with us, and she has some questions to ask me. So I will be taking some questions from Banu, and then after that we'll be going further. Banu, I cannot hear you. If you could unmute yourself, I'll be happy to join you and answer your questions.
Yeah, so thank you, Attorney Gehi. We do have a couple of questions. So one of the questions is, what's happening with the new H1B visa program?
All right, so firstly, we are going to talk about that in the next few minutes. And if with the H1B program, the lottery registration is going to begin on March 1st, and it's going to be until March 18th or so. So make sure that you start talking to your employer and start preparing for your H1B. We've been helping people with the H1B visa kind of program a lot these days. And if you get a question, generally if you're approaching an employer, let them know that, because some of the employers think that it's a very, very difficult process. So calm them down and tell them, listen, I even have a lawyer who can work with you. And sometimes most employers allow you to find your own lawyer, and Gehi and Associates can represent you if you want, because we speak to those employers and we let them know that it's not as difficult as you seem this process to be. And if you can convince them, then I think that's going to help them a lot. So it's going to be from, and there are going to be 65,000 visas available. So everyone should be kind of talking to the employers. They need to kind of make sure that there's momentum in that regard. And the second part of the test is that there are 20,000 additional visas available to people who have master's degrees and beyond.
So another question we have is, how can people prepare for that lottery?
Okay, the way people can prepare is that, for example, if you're on a student visa here, you need to start talking to your employer. You're on this OPT right now, or if you're in school right now, and even if you're on a visitor's visa. And if you have an employer, it can be a hotel industry, it can be, someone who owns hotels, someone who's an architect. As far as the minimum requirement to perform the job as a bachelor's degree, you can qualify for an H1. So take an example about an architect, a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer, a dentist who has graduated from the United States, a manager with an MBA degree, or an architect, or if you're looking at any occupation that needs a bachelor's degree, or even a paralegal, like we call it as a law clerk, needs a bachelor's degree. So then you need to let the employer know, hey, listen, I meet the qualifications, and I've spoken to a lawyer, and it can even be someone in the agricultural sector, it can be any sector. Then after that, the employer can start the processing and he can apply for the H1B. And it can be an accountant, it can be a financial advisor, it can be any occupation.
So we have a question in regards to the J1 visa. This person's asking, can a person directly apply for a green card if he's on a J1 visa?
Yes, so that is also a possibility. Now, take an example, you have this J1 visa for 18 months. And you can even be a J1 au pair. Au pair I'm talking about. J1 can be anybody, can be an au pair, can be an exchange visitor. As far as you are not subjected to the 212E requirement, your employer can sponsor you. And if you're not from a country like India or from China, because those countries are backlogged, the good news is that your labor certification may be approved in 6 to 8 months. And after that, if your priority date is current, you can immediately file the I-140 and the 485 petition. And once that is approved, you can have your green card.
Great. We have one more question. Can a person who is on a student visa directly apply for a green card if he has an employer?
Okay, so can a person on a student visa directly apply for a green card? Yes, he can. Now take an example, if I'm not from a country like India or China, which is backlogged, I'm here, I have 12 months, the employer can directly start the green card process. That's number one. If you have these, if you're a STEM document, excellent for you. Do not waste your time, start the process right away. And I tell people, start talking to qualified lawyers from day one. Why? Because it is not necessary for you to wait until the H1B quota opens up. As I said, the common misconception is that you need an H1B in order to qualify for the green card. The answer is no, you do not need an H1B in order to qualify for a green card.
All right, I think we have one more question. How can they discuss H1B visa with their employer? I'm sorry, wrong question. Yeah, how can they discuss H1B visa with their employer?
Okay, the way they can work it out is that, for example, if you're working in a company, you're working for this particular employer with an architect, and he likes your work very much. You're in any field over here. You're an architect. You're an you're a legal researcher, or if you are a business kind of major, and if you're a business administrator, or if you're a software analyst, or if you are a systems analyst, whatever that is, you need to just go up to the employer, say, sir, I love working for the company. Are you impressed with my skills? And if the employer's impressed with the skills, and if he feels that he's a very special employee that he'd like to have, then he needs to consult with the lawyer and get the process started.
Great. Thank you, Attorney Gehi.
So folks, another thing now, part B of this discussion, we're going to focus on H1Bs. So what is an H1B? H1B is a common visa which is used by a lot of companies to sponsor foreign nationals, especially in the specialty occupation. A specialty occupation is an occupation that requires the minimum attainment of a bachelor's degree, so which is equivalent to a US 4-year degree. Countries like India and all, Pakistan, and even some parts of the UK, they have 3-year degrees. So the 3-year degrees are not recognized. Your degree should be a 4-year degree. And once you have that degree, doesn't matter even if you have an architecture degree from another country. And there are 65,000 visas. It's a capped subject visa, where if you basically are working for a private employer. So then the employer can petition you, and if it is approved, you get your H1B visa for 3 years. You can extend it for another 3 years. And if you're married, your spouse can also join you in this country, and your children under 21 can come in and they can go to school in the United States of America. So folks, this is about H1Bs. And besides dealing with corporate immigration, I also wanted to kind of basically sum this up by answering some questions that I've received from our viewers. And they asked me to kind of speak about them. Number one, Attorney Gehi, I come from a country which is at war, and I want to apply for political asylum, and I've crossed 1 year. The answer is yes, you may still be eligible if you can show extraordinary circumstances why you are applying late for your political asylum. So it depends upon the facts and circumstances of every case. So if someone is telling you that 1 year is a mandatory deadline, they are wrong. So if you can show extraordinary circumstances, you may still be able to apply for your political asylum. The second question was from a viewer that I am married to a US citizen, and my spouse, which means my husband, is abusing me every day. What are my options? Under VAWA, which is the Violence Against Women's Act, which applies equally to men, if you are a victim of violence and if you have been subjected to extreme cruelty, you can self-sponsor, which means you can apply for a green card on your own without any help from your US citizen spouse or your permanent resident spouse. Third question was from someone who said, Attorney Gehi, I have a deportation order and I'm married to a US citizen. Do I have hope? My answer is yes, you may have hope. Having a deportation order does not mean that you can never get a green card forever. So there are some exceptions to the rule. And Obama came up with a wonderful professional waiver program. And if you are eligible for the professional waiver, and if you apply, then the good news is that we've had people who had deportation orders and they've been successful in getting their green cards. So having a deportation order is not the end of the game. There may be light at the end of the tunnel, but it's important for you to make sure that you speak to any experienced lawyer who knows what he's doing, because immigration is a very tricky area of the law. And yeah, for our viewers, if you have any questions for us, you can go to our website, which is www.gehilaw.com, GEHILAW.com, GEHILAW.com. And we have 3 offices, and we service clients from all over the United States and the world. And we've been doing a lot of Zoom interviews with companies, with professionals, with people who are sponsoring their relatives, their friends, their family members, entertainers, and performers. So the office addresses are, one of them is in Jackson Heights, and 7409 37th Avenue, Jackson Heights, New York. And the number for a Jackson Heights office is 718-263-5999. The number for our Jamaica office is 718-764-6911. And the number for our Ozone Park office is 718-577-0711. And the law firm offers a free personal consultation. Prior results do not guarantee future outcome. The instant program is an attorney advertisement. And yes, we handle immigration cases from all over the US and the world. So we'll be keeping the show on for people who have questions. If you have your questions, you can put them up on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want. And the best way to ask your question is you can just basically type your question over here in the in the Q&A section, and we'll be happy to take some questions from our viewers. So Banu, do you have any questions? Any more questions from your end?
I think that's all for today.
All right, so folks, we are open 7 days a week, and if you miss something, this recording will also be available, and pass it on to your friends, your nears and dears. And our next session is going to be very important. Everything you want to know about the H1B visa. It's more like the ABCs of H1Bs, because there are people, employers who want to know about H1Bs. Why are we talking about that subject? Because that is a hot button right now. On the 25th, on the 21st of this month, immigration is going to open up its door, which means, of course, they're going to accept applications from the 1st, but they're going to open up the doors for the H1B visa. So we are going to talk to you about the ABCDs of the H1B visa, and also we are going to update you with what is happening with the BBB, which means the Build Back Better program, which everyone wants to know from the great things which the Biden administration is trying to do, but he is facing obstacles. So stay tuned for our next show for the BBB as well as ABCDs of the H1B visa program with Attorney Gehi, only on Green Card with Gehi. Thank you, folks. We'll be back again next week, same time, same place. Don't forget to tune in with Attorney Gehi.